Hello and welcome to Art Equals Life. I'm your host, JT Dubs.
And I am co-host Moose.
And joining us is a new co-host, friend of the show, Higgs. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Higgs?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Higgs, birth name John Higgins, social security number. I'm just playing.
But yeah, Higgs will be joining us, so everyone be nice to Higgs. No mean comments, unless they're funny mean comments, in which case I'm okay with that. But, because you can make fun of me too, it's fine.
That's fair.
Oh, jeez, Rick, I think we're in trouble right now.
Morty, I'm in jail, Morty, get me out.
Oh, you've been accused of domestic violence. This is not good, Rick. Oh.
Morty, you gotta understand. I'm supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, but I think I really did hit her.
Oh, jeez, Rick, that's not okay, man.
Oh, God. Justin Roiland.
I thought that was going to go on forever.
No.
Whew. So, who wants to start talking about the Justin Roiland fiasco? I mean, as of right now, it's been about a month since that whole thing went down, but not good.
Yeah, so, what did he do again? He, beat his wife or something?
I think his girlfriend.
Okay.
But then he also got in trouble because they saw that he was messaging underage girls some pretty questionable stuff. So
I didn't know that part.
Hey, you want to see my squatch?
God.
Oh, God.
What is up with people who think that they have some sort of power because they have money? Why take advantage of young minors? Oh, hey, you heard of Rick and Morty? Guess what? I'm Rick, and I'm Morty, and I wrote the show. Let me get you to be provocative towards me. That's just disgusting.
I do have kind of a conspiracy theory about that sort of stuff, and I feel like because Justin Roiland is kind of a nerdy dude, it's the second he gets power, he's I guess I don't need to try to impress people my age, so I may as well lowball it.
That's disgusting.
I just don't understand. It's do you not understand that screenshots are a thing? If you're genuinely what you're doing is wrong. I mean, I don't think you should do it to begin with, but if you're going to do it, why would you just do it when there's a very easy way for everybody to see that?
Well, see, here's the thing when it comes to people like that. When they have power and they choose minors, they think that the minors are too scared to tell anyone, so they think that they have that sense of control over them.
So the domestic violence case, that happened actually back in 2020, so it took them a while, and
damn,
people were covering for his ass for a while. And then those messages were well before that as well. So, yeah, I mean, thank God shit finally came back to get him. But, he finally was outed as a predator, and he's now been fired from Adult Swim. And will no longer be on Rick and Morty.
Another one bites the dust.
Yeah, really. But, yeah, so it's kind of crazy that he's just, completely destroyed his career. And I don't know. We didn't even know all this was going on until very recently, when it's been going on for a long time. So thank God that it finally came out, but he'll be dealing with the legal consequences of what he's done. Well, he'll at least be going to court. We don't know that he'll actually be found guilty yet, but basically though, yeah, the show is going to be in a weird place. I haven't really watched Rick and Morty in a few years. Well, no, I watched the weird incest baby season, and that was kind of where I was done with it.
I mean, that was the second to last episode, or last season.
Okay, yeah, so maybe it was 2 years ago I watched it. I don't know, but Higgs, you said that you've been watching it and keeping up with it.
Yeah, I actually like this latest season a lot better than the last couple of seasons. Ironically, because Justin Roiland hasn't really been in charge of the creative process for a while, according to Adult Swim, and I believe that because, I don't know, it seems like they have a nice team of really fresh young writers going on, and none of them. The season doesn't, capture the magic of the first one. There's not a Total Recall episode where, you have all the imaginary scenarios. That's probably my favorite episode. There's not a Mr. Meeseeks episode, but they have all been like damn solid, and none of them involved incest babies. I guess there was one that it revolved around an incest joke, but like it didn't like create life. It was just like the implied idea that something might happen, but it never does.
Interesting. Yeah, it's for me. It seems like when Justin Roiland was more involved in the early seasons, the show was probably funnier. Like I can think of all the funny moments from the first couple seasons, and I can't really think of anything that hilarious from the more recent seasons. But I do think that it does seem like they've found more of like their footing a little bit in terms of like having new writers that have new ideas, and it seems like the show is at least was going in an interesting direction. I don't know what the future of it's going to be though. I mean, like Moose, what do you think? How do you think people are going to react to there being probably new voice actors for Rick and Morty and the show taking a different direction after this?
You know how I feel about the whole Rick and Morty thing. I wish that they would just cancel the show altogether, but so much money has been put into the show, so obviously they're going to keep it going for as long as they can. In my opinion, I think that the Justin Roiland stands, because there are more than likely some that are out there, are going to, boycott the show. The fact that he's not in it, it's probably going to have a bunch of critics. Now, I can't wait to see who's going to actually take over, because Justin Roiland did take over like a lot of voices. Like he did a lot of side characters. He was the two main characters of the show. To me, it's going to be like, oh, good riddance. He's a woman beater. We could care less about what's going on. And then you have the people who are actually going to be supporting him, who's like, oh, well, Justin Roiland made the show, regardless whether he's been, lacking in the creative space of the show or not. He's still like the two main characters of the show. He's the one who made the show. The show is not going to be the same without him. So I just really think that it's just going to be the battle of morality, if that makes any sense.
Explain to me what you mean by battle of morality.
Because the number one thing is innocent until proven guilty in people's eyes, and people are very quick to cancel. But the thing is that when you have a situation like this where people have came forward and they've brought screenshots, or what we call is the receipts, pretty much. They brought the receipts. But with these allegations or charges, I should say, I'm sorry, with these domestic violence charges, there are people who aren't going to give a shit about that. It's really bad about how ugly the way people are nowadays. People don't care about that kind of stuff. If something that they are, I don't want to say a worshiper, so that's why I say stan. Something that they are a follower of, a stan of. If it is changed or altered in any kind of way, people riot. I mean, this is kind of a weird thing to bring up, but for example, have you seen The Walking Dead?
I stopped whenever Glenn got killed, but yeah.
Yeah, so
spoilers.
Exactly. No. Listen, that's exactly my point. Something that was a big alter, a big change in that show for you, made you stop watching the show.
Mm-hmm.
The Walking Dead literally had merch being sold, worldwide. If Daryl dies, we riot, because everybody loved his character so much. It's not exactly like the same sample, but it's a little similar. It's more so what I'm trying to get at is if something in that show or something in particular that, people follow or people like, if something gets changed and it's a change that they don't like, people who like Justin Roiland and the fact that he's Rick and Morty and that it's going to be a big change, people are going to get upset. And people are not going to care about the fact that this man did such crappy things.
I see what you're saying. I think, too, like, there's always going to be people on both sides that take the most extreme stance either way. It's like there are literally people I've watched online that have said, like, I think that the whole Justin Roiland thing is a conspiracy. They just don't like that he was so edgy, and they're people they're just trying to make all this stuff up and have false allegations. And then like there are literally people out there who are such big fans of him that even if he is proven in a court of law that he's guilty, they'll still be like, fake news, that's wrong, not real. But then on the other end of the spectrum, though, there are some people who, the minute they heard anything bad about him, decided
Canceled.
he's guilty.
Canceled.
Over. Yeah. And so it's like there's always going to be people that, and then even if he's proven innocent, they'll still say, no, he really did that. No, it's not true. Like, so I guess what I'm saying is either way, there's always going to be people on both sides that are going to be innocent till proven guilty, or always innocent no matter what, or guilty till proven innocent, or just always guilty. One bad thing about him turned him, So I don't know. I think that it's such a toxic culture, and you just got to let, the justice system go through its course. And, I don't know how I feel about them firing him preemptively, but I think that they, from a business standpoint, Adult Swim kind of just had to do it and pull the plug on him. And,
Absolutely.
I mean, just with the amount of stuff that came out about him, it would be hard to believe that he's innocent. But again, we've seen the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard thing happen. So like anything is possible.
That's exactly what I was about to say. I should have used the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial as an example, more so than the example that I used. But I was more so going towards the fact of the way people are whenever you alter something. But yes, that is exactly it. The way that Disney was like, oh, you have been charged with, or you've got all of these things going on about you with Amber Heard, Johnny, get out of here. Even though you're like the main star of this movie, get out of here. We know there is no innocent until proven guilty, because of the fact that we're such a big company and we don't want to have to deal with any kind of backlash from our viewers. You're out. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no, we're just going to put you on a suspension, wait until you have a trial, done. It was, you're gone, you're out of here, your movies are done, everything's done. This man literally had to take it to court for a defamation lawsuit just to prove a point that, hey, I'm innocent and this is why. So it's basically, that kind of situation.
Oh yeah. What do you think about that, Higgs?
Yeah. So I will say I don't entirely buy the Walking Dead parallel, simply because they definitely changed creatively. Whereas with the case of Rick and Morty, the only thing that's going to change is somebody else is going to make I don't know about this, Rick. Oh. And it's like anybody can do that. Like nothing is going to change from a noticeable level. The only thing that's going to change is whose name is on the credits.
I really hope that they get the guy from TikTok, Sean Kelly.
Yes.
He does this great Morty. I don't care if he plays Rick necessarily, but he would be a great Morty. And I'll say this, even though I haven't kept up with Rick and Morty in the past year or two, I will at least check out an episode whenever the new voice actor starts up, just because I'm curious now. And I do think that in a weird way, even though this whole controversy will kill a lot of people's interests in the show, it seemed like the viewership was already kind of going down and people were not talking about it as much. So if anything, this may have brought more attention to the show than it was going to have already.
Bad publicity is publicity.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be interesting to see if the publicity gets people's eyes on it again. And then, if they can keep the show going well, then there might be a lot of people that keep watching it, or old fans that might come back. Or it could go the opposite direction and people are loyal to Justin Roiland and won't want to watch it anymore. And, at the end of the day, we just have to see how it turns out. But I can definitely say that it's kind of telling that Adult Swim has recently announced a new season of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, just in case it doesn't work out with Rick and Morty anymore. So, they're hedging their bets.
I don't know. For me, I'm one of the two people who did watch the latest season, and it's it was good enough creatively. It made me laugh. It had some cool concepts. It was definitely up to the standard of quality that I'm used to. So if it stays a good show, yeah, sure, I'm gonna keep watching. Why not?
Yeah, and that's the thing too. You gotta think about is boycotting the show because of something that one person did doesn't always make the most sense because there are a bunch of other talented creative people that are behind the show. And so it's not like Justin Roiland is like this one man act. It's not like he's animating all of it himself, writing every episode. You know, he apparently wasn't even that involved towards the end of it. So I mean, you know, if you are someone who supports the show already and, you know, you like what they do with a new voice actor, then I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with continuing to support the show without him. You know, it just depends on your own personal feeling towards it. You know, to turn things over a little bit, another recent incident that's similar to this in terms of an artist and their work, you know, sort of being controversial, but people wanting to support the work without supporting the artist is J.K. Rowling and the new Hogwarts Legacy game. Because J.K. Rowling, for anyone who doesn't know, said some pretty transphobic stuff and has sort of been labeled by a lot of people as being bigoted towards the trans community. And she's just sort of had a lot of controversies over the years, you know, but to say the least, she's sort of been viewed as a toxic person as of late. But the Hogwarts Legacy game just came out and it's been hugely successful. A lot of people have loved it. They said it's a really good RPG. It's been a flagship title for the PS5 and it's coming to like every platform. So huge game, probably the biggest game of the year so far. But, you know, there was a lot of controversy online, people saying, oh, you shouldn't support the game because J.K. Rowling is going to be getting royalties from it. You don't want to support a transphobic person. Other people have been saying, hey, it doesn't matter. Other people are, you know, made the game. She didn't have anything to do with it. You should support the game because we like the game itself. So what are y'all's thoughts on that?
Well, something that I find interesting is you also have kind of the other end of the spectrum where it's like somebody outright going like, well, I hate trans people, so I'm gonna buy 3 copies.
Damn. That person has no life.
Like that actually is the thing.
I have a few trans friends who actually play the game.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So it's like, it's just a little, I don't know, off the wall, I guess. I don't want to say that their opinions and feelings do not matter because they 100% do. But there are some people who don't take this as seriously as other people do. I haven't really caught up with the topic. I haven't even played Hogwarts Legacy yet. I haven't really, like, y'all were the people who told me that there were controversies with J.K. Rowling to begin with because I didn't know. I've been hiding under a rock, you know, about that kind of stuff. I didn't even know that there were any issues with her at all until recently when you guys told me everything. So it's like, I mean, I can basically just give you my opinion off of everything that you've told me. Unfortunately, I have not had the time to do my research on her to give you a more biased opinion because I've been having to take care of the kids. But just from everything that you guys have told me, it just, you know, it's all about how people feel and how seriously they take this situation. If they feel that what she's done and if they feel like that she's basically mocking them and like kind of throwing it in their face with the game, you know, then they have the right to feel that way. There's some people who don't take that, you know, very seriously. And apparently you can be a trans person in the game. That's what I've heard from a few people. I'm not sure if that's true or not. So it's
No, it is true. I actually watched my friend play it.
Okay.
And my friend actually made a trans character in the
Okay,
game.
yeah. So then it's like I don't really see what's going on here. You know, maybe she's had like some wake up calls. And maybe she feels differently compared to how she felt 10
doubt
years
it.
ago.
I don't think she feels differently. It's not something that she
Okay.
used to say. It's J.K. Rowling basically has come out saying she's like a really big feminist and that she doesn't believe that trans women are real women, and therefore she has just kind of been saying a lot of insensitive things towards trans women specifically. And the controversy, I think, only started a couple years ago, so she's never gone back on the opinion or anything. So yeah, that's pretty much what she said.
Hassan Parker on the Daily Show said something that I thought was pretty interesting. I think you actually posted it on your Instagram story. Basically, like, she never would have said this stuff back when she, was bankrupt and like trying to sell her first Harry Potter book to like a
J.K.
publisher.
Rowling is a total attention whore, dude. I mean, remember back before she was controversial for being too conservative, she was controversial for being too liberal back in the day, because she would always be like, yeah, I didn't write this in the book, but Dumbledore's gay now. Dumbledore is just gay now.
Yeah.
Or this person was actually black, but I never said it in the book. Or, I never said Hermione couldn't be black, and then it literally says in the book that Hermione's skin is white or something. So,
Yeah.
She's literally just always been going for attention, and I think she used to try to get attention triggering the conservatives, and then now she gets attention triggering the, progressive left-wing people. So she's just sort of always looking for somebody to provoke, and is always... I mean, hey, look, if she was truly trying to be progressive with her work, that's fine. I don't see anything wrong with that. But she didn't put it in any of the books or any of the movies. She just retroactively after the fact was like, yeah, there's LGBTQ plus representation in my work. I just didn't feel like writing it at the time. But, I'm going to say it now that it's more, politically correct or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. She just comes across to me as just someone who has just wants attention straight up. And I mean, similarly, in the very same vein is the Dilbert artist recently came out this week as just he started saying Scott Adams is his name. He started saying a bunch of bad stuff about black people, and so you really do have this sort of situation now where it's like you've got these rich people who are like celebrities and have it all, and their lives are going great, but they're just a little bitter about something, and they just want everyone to know, and they want the attention for it,
You know what I think
they
it
really
is?
want to prove just how contrarian and how original their opinions are. What is that, Higgs?
But yeah, that's what happens when you got a lot of money, is you are so bored that you gotta ruin other people's lives just to make your life interesting.
That's pretty whack, son. That's pretty lame.
It's pretty
You
bogus,
celebrities
bruh.
need to get yourself a life. Let's get into the main topic of today, which is our boy, the gay fish himself, Mr. Kanye West, or Ye, as he likes to call himself now. Yeah, this is going to be a big one. So, for the two people in the audience who might not know about this, Kanye West is a very successful, was a very successful rapper, music artist. And, he came out with his first hit album in 2004, College Dropout. He's been pretty much a household name ever since. I, myself, personally, was a fan of his music. I liked a lot of his albums. And let's just say over the years, he kind of went from being someone who was just a really good rapper to, with a little bit of an inflated ego, to basically a complete narcissistic egomaniac that was just chasing controversy after controversy. Married Kim Kardashian for a time, had some kids with her, got divorced. That was a whole thing. But most recently has come out as a Nazi. And I'm not going to say anti-Semitic, because now he literally has praised Hitler and the Nazis.
Like, he literally said Hitler was a cool dude.
Yeah. He went on Alex Jones's show and made Alex Jones look like the sane person, which I never knew was possible. So yeah, what are y'all's thoughts on that?
Oh man, it's like he makes good music, but my God, like which ironically enough, Hitler also made some pretty good paintings.
I will not comment on the quality of the paintings. They're fine, but
I'm just saying they're both Jew haters who made art.
Yeah, they did both make art. I'll give them that. Ugh. But yeah, basically he's said a lot of anti-Semitic stuff. Basically, I guess because there were some Jewish music producers that I guess gave him some pretty shitty deals when he was recording his work. And I mean, that happens a lot to people in the industry, that the people at the top take basically everything from you, at least when you're starting out. and kind of treat you like crap. But attributing that to them for being Jewish is like pretty damn messed up.
Yeah.
Like, ugh. So Moose, what do you think of this whole situation that Kanye has gotten himself into?
I think Kanye West is someone who is very mentally unstable. This is coming from someone who has similar diagnoses or diagnoses. Sorry for my improper grammar. As Kanye West, I am someone who is also diagnosed with bipolar disorder. And when you are unmedicated, you can be a very different person than who you are naturally. And, not to give this guy sympathy for someone who basically said that they liked Adolf Hitler. But, he's had a lot of things happen to him that has made him become a lot more off the wall than he should be. And,
yeah, he's not taking his meds anymore. It's been confirmed. So,
well, it's also confirmed that he doesn't want to take his meds because he says that his meds silence him. And
well, maybe he should be a little bit silenced if this is
no. I completely understand. I completely agree with that because the fact that everything he says is very inappropriate and it's a little disturbing, but I understand what he means by, oh, well, the medicine doesn't make me, who I am. It silences me. But, when you have those type of intrusive thoughts, those are the intrusive thoughts that should be silenced because they're not okay.
For sure.
But it's like, he's just wanting to be himself. But because of the fact that he's unmedicated and he's allowing himself to be unmedicated, he's not understanding. He does not have a leveled head. Hey, this is not okay. These things that I'm saying, my beliefs right now, are not okay.
Yeah.
And to Kanye, everything is right. Everything he does is right. He's never in the wrong and he's never going to be in the wrong. He's just going to keep being on Kanye's level at all times, and that level is going to continue to accelerate as long as he is unmedicated. And it's like, I'm not trying to attack the guy, but some of the stuff that he's done over the years has been pretty disturbing. Disrupting Taylor Swift getting her award. The way that he's been love bombing Kim Kardashian after their divorce, the way that he made a song with somebody, and in the music video, when she was dating Pete Davidson at the time, insinuating that he killed Pete Davidson. It's very disturbing the things that he's doing. His podcast with Alex Jones that he recently just did. That's very disturbing. That's like the cherry on top of the Kanye sundae that he has made for himself. And to me, after watching his little documentary tri-series that was done on Netflix, Genius, you kind of understand a bit of why Kanye is the way that he is. And it's kind of sad to say, but it seems like the fame is what's really brought it out. Because like we were saying at the beginning with the whole Justin Roiland stuff, bad publicity, is, publicity in general. And, when you watch like the beginning of it and you watch how Kanye has his grow up, he literally threw himself at people and you can tell it made people very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think another aspect too that you got to think about is that the documentary went into detail with is, they showed a lot of him interacting with his mom, and his mom seemed like she really was like this grounding force for him. Let me pull up a quote from the documentary that she said actually. So his mom, Donda West, at one point she said to him, because she was encouraging him to pursue his dreams as a rapper, but she was saying, "The giant looks in the mirror and sees nothing." And to me, that quote really meant a lot. especially when you look at how big he became after that, and also just how inflated his ego got. But it's like, you know, his mom really was this grounding force for him, that even though she encouraged him to pursue his dreams and probably in some ways enabled his narcissism and ego, she also reminded him to stay humble in some ways. And, you know, a few years later, she passes away in 2007, I believe. And ironically, you can kind of see, if you just follow the documentary and follow the trajectory of his life after that, it's like, after she dies, he kind of loses it, and that's when he starts really acting out, like the Taylor Swift stuff and him coming out and saying George Bush doesn't care about black people, which I mean was true, but you know, he definitely you know, chasing a little bit of attention there too. You know, he just really started leaning in more and more to his persona. You know, he sort of just fell in love with Trump and started wanting to copy Trump in a lot of ways, and you know, sort of became big into MAGA and wearing the hat and going to the White House and meeting him, and you know, saying all this stuff, you know, wearing the White Lives Matter shirt, and just, I mean, he just has nonstop been just chasing the controversy. He said that being slavery was a choice, and then it got him a lot of attention from Tucker Carlson, as we saw at the end of the documentary, which kind of planted some seeds in him that if he just started being a reactionary and saying a bunch of crazy stuff, that people would just start following him, and that built up his cult even a little bit more. So he's not going in a good direction right now.
Kanye's ego was already pretty high. The man was already pretty arrogant. And then it was like, as soon as he actually made it, because it got to the point where it was like, okay, fine, we'll finally listen to this guy. And yeah, don't get me wrong, his music's pretty good. He is very great with his lyrics and the way that his music flows and the way that he puts things together. It is very good. But when you hype an unmedicated bipolar man up when they're on that manic high, and this is coming from someone who has that experience, when I have my manic high, I feel like I'm on top of the world.
It's just kind of a shame that someone with that much talent decided to waste it on being a Nazi, and his voice and him amplifying his own voice is only going to have a ripple effect that will increase the amount of anti-Semitism in America. We're about to go to commercial break, and we'll be right back. Oh, God. Customers. Welcome to Crapplebee's.
Howard, darling, when you told me you were going to take me out for a night on the town for our anniversary, I didn't think you meant fucking Crapplebee's.
Oh, hell yeah. Anything for my sugar tits.
Wow, look at Mr. Moneybags over here. I should have worn my leopard print fucking panties for you.
Oh, God. How disgusting. Follow me to your table. Can I start you off with something to drink?
Yeah, I'll have a pitcher of PBR and she'll have a water.
Are you ready to order your food?
Yeah, I'll start with an order of onion rings, some tots, a cheeseburger with extra barbecue, and I don't mean the sauce, I mean I want some pulled pork on that shit and a chocolate cake for dessert.
And what would the lady like?
She'll have a salad, but hold the dressing though. She's starting to look like her fat ass mama.
Howie!
A few moments later.
Here are your drinks.
Oh, finally. Give me another, son.
Yes, Your Majesty.
1 hour later.
Where the hell is that waiter? I am drunk and I am ready for my food.
Howie, will you slow down? You've already had 7 pitches.
Crapplebee's. When you're here, you're drunk.
And we're back. So, Kanye's most recent controversy coming out as anti-Semitic. How do you view this will affect his fans and his legacy going forward?
Well, he definitely won't have the mass appeal that he does. Like, that's for sure. He's not going to have the same percentage, or not the same amount of fans as he used to. With that in mind, I feel like the ones who stick around are also going to be the most rabid, the most vocal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I've literally seen people that are still defending him now, and they're like, "But he's right though," and I'm like, "Bruh,
Oh
like,
no!
just admit you like his music, and he's a shitty person. Just can you just admit that? Like, that's all it takes." Like,
Yeah, like I like some of his songs, but I absolutely hate him as a person.
yeah, I mean, I've been a fan of him not a super long amount of time, but I have really in the last couple years listened to some of his albums, and I've really enjoyed them. And I mean, honestly, I could still see myself enjoying them in the future because they are good music. And, you know, this sort of gets into our topic of the day of separating the art from the artist. And, you know, one thing I saw in a Wisecrack video recently that I actually really enjoyed was they sort of talked about how, you know, the artist can be a bad person, but they can still make good art. And a bad person could also make bad art from the standpoint of morality. So, for instance, Justin Roiland, you know, was a part of Rick and Morty, but Rick and Morty is not advocating for domestic violence or being a sexual predator. So he did contribute to good art that did have some good messages. There are some good moral messages in Rick and Morty, even though it is a lot of edgy jokes and dick jokes and fart jokes and stuff. But similarly, you know, there are some good messages in Harry Potter, you know, from that franchise about friendship and heroism and stuff. And you can't really take that away just because J.K. Rowling is, a bad person. Similarly, though, there are, you know, examples of artists making bad art that advocates for bad things. You know, Birth of a Nation is a great example of, you know, like a film that advocated basically for racism and promoted the KKK. So, I mean, like, you can be a bad person that makes good art, but you can also be a bad person that makes bad art. And, you know, it really just depends on where you can really separate that in your mind and what you are and aren't okay with. And I just sort of feel like everybody has their own line. Like, does that make sense to y'all?
Yeah. One thing I will say about Birth of a Nation is without Birth of a Nation, we would not have cross-cut editing.
They would have figured it out eventually.
I know. I just wanted to throw in that little bit of trivia.
Yeah, no, that is actually true. For the 3 people in the audience that went to film school, you would also know that. But Moose, how do you feel about that though, in terms of separating the art from the artist, especially when it comes to Kanye?
I feel as if you support the music, then you support Kanye. Or, well, that's just my opinion. You know, it's a little strange to me. You know, and I really like some of Kanye's stuff, but it's just really hard for me to listen to his stuff after everything that's been said. You know, it's just it just I don't know, like you said, it's kind of a morality thing for me. It honestly makes me feel guilty. Like, you know, it's like, dang, if I listen to his music, then I'm giving this Nazi lover views.
You're essentially voting with your wallet, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
I would say too, like, for me at least, like, I would not choose to support Kanye financially. I wouldn't buy any of his merch, wouldn't go to any of his concerts. If he even made new music now, I probably wouldn't listen to it. But I guess what I'm saying is that for me at least, him coming out as this horrible person doesn't really change the fact that I enjoyed that music beforehand. And I don't know that I can really stop myself from enjoying music that I've previously enjoyed.
See, but that's the thing though. And I understand that 100%. You know, it's like you build this bond with the music that you have learned to love in the past before all of this stuff came out into the public, right?
Also, like, for a good example as well, my favorite movies of all time are the Lord of the Rings movies. You want to know who produced those movies? Harvey Weinstein. And, you know, every time I watch those films, I have to, like, only give them a 9.9 out of 10 because I have to see his stupid name at the end of the credits every time.
And every Tarantino movie.
Now I feel like a shit person because I don't even know who freaking Harvey Weinstein is.
Lauren, are you like unaware of like every controversy?
Yes.
Like, we also had to explain to you that like Chick-fil-A was like fucking homophobic.
When I tell you I literally live under a rock,
I'm
I
honestly
live
kind of
under
jealous
a
though, to
rock.
be honest.
And that's but no, you don't understand. Like, that's idiotic of me. That's bad of me, because it's like I'm sheltering myself. So then when people bring this up, I look dumb.
No, you're not dumb, dude. I mean, I wish that I didn't have to pay attention to the news every day. It's just that this stuff is interesting to me. But man, like I would love to not know about half this stuff, because like, man, my viewpoint of the world would probably be so much more optimistic if I didn't know about any of this stuff happening.
It's because of the fact that I don't want to know about what's going on with the world, because of how freaking ugly it's becoming. Everything is just so ugly now. There's cancel culture. There's Kanye West loving Nazis. There's J.K. Rowling loving or hating transgender people. Justin Roiland beating up his girlfriend. You know, it's just like, it's disgusting. And it just bothers me so bad, because these are people that people praise because of the fact that they are what makes up our entertainment system. You know, our world of entertainment, Hollywood, all that kind of stuff. These are the people who are in it. You know, content creators, all that kind of stuff. There's just some sort of controversy, some sort of cancel culture with everybody. So that's why I just stay off. It's like I stay in my little bubble on social media with my friends and my family, and I try my best to not go outside of that bubble. Like, I even took a break off TikTok because after I had my daughter, it just got fucking gross. I would watch people post videos of, like, you know, how sad they were because their husband died and their wife died. And it's like, oh, boo-hoo, Lauren. Like, life happens. It happens. No, I get it. I understand all of this stuff is going to happen. But it's like, I'm so tired of seeing it, because it's literally every single day. And it became this way for me after all of that shit was happening with COVID, Black Lives Matter, you know, all of these different movements. That's when everything was just coming into the light that, you know, shit really sucks. And it's like, and I know it's been happening forever, but, you know, now that I'm an adult, that's when it became a wake-up call to me that all of this stuff is really happening. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I shelter myself from it when I should still have some sort of education on what is going on in the world. But it's like I just don't want to. I don't want to know. But I shouldn't act that way because it is happening. You know, I should face the truth, but I just don't want to.
Yeah, I get that.
Well, similarly to how you talk about like separating what's happening in the world with your own life, you know, I think that you sort of have to. Like, I do consume a lot of news and a lot of what's happening in the world, but I've sort of learned to just sort of filter it in my brain to where I can pay attention to it. I'm informed on what's happening, just so that I'm not caught off guard when things get crazy. But like, you know, I know generally what's happening in the world, but at the same time, I sort of just try to focus on enjoying the little things in my life. And I've really sort of learned how to cope with that. And I don't know, I feel like sometimes you just sort of have to do that. But it's a similar line though to everyone's got their line of like what is okay for me to have to deal with in my own life, what's okay for me to have to, like, how much news am I going to consume, how much do I want to know about how messed up the world is. And it's similar to everyone's got their own line with canceling a celebrity of what crosses the line and what doesn't. And I mean, yeah, I think like you said, most of these artists do have some kind of controversy, and it is kind of getting to the point where just about everybody's getting canceled because turns out nobody's a perfect person.
If you sneeze the wrong way, you'll get freaking canceled nowadays, dude.
Yeah, and I'm fine with Justin Roiland and J.K. Rowling and Kanye. I'm fine with them all being punished from a monetary standpoint for contributing so negatively to the public discourse. But at the same time, you do have sort of everybody getting canceled to some degree, and maybe it's just better that, you know, we just learn to draw the line of like, this is okay, this is not okay, and this isn't okay, but maybe the person can improve. And, you know, because I mean, we're all just human. I hope that maybe people can start to like give a little bit more empathy to each other, to like understand that most of us are trying our best to be better people and to improve. But you know, that's what I feel, but I don't necessarily think that applies to Kanye and J.K. Rowling and Justin Roiland, because they have all sort of crossed certain moral lines that I'm definitely not okay with giving them my endorsement, to be honest.
Yeah, so something that Lauren brought up, just the idea of, being bombarded by so much information all the time. And I realize I'm kind of backtracking here, but it was a thought that I had for a while and I just got to get it out. Like that is a thing. Like I quit Facebook like a couple years ago because like I was just getting bombarded by just so many people angry all the time, and I just kind of had to check out. Like you still should be well informed, but like I also understand, the desire to kind of live in a blissful ignorance, so to speak. And I think that's actually healthy, because here's the thing: your phone is fucking poison, Like the human mind was not built to take in that much information all the time. So like I would say it's a balance thing. I think you should be informed, but I don't think that it should take up every aspect of your life, because like you still got to live your life. You still got, like family and friends that you got to think about. Like everything going on the internet is not your concern. Yeah, like there was something that Bo Burnham said it Inside that was like, can anyone for 1 second shut the f*** up?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of heavy stuff to deal with in the world, especially when you find out that all your heroes are sexual predators or racist or bigoted or just maybe even straight up Nazis. Like it's gotten that bad. I sort of think that the just sort of echo chamber of the internet, where everybody is like in their own little bubble, and everybody wants to prove that they are the most extreme, the most pure, the most intense believer of whatever ideology they have, just sort of leads to extremism on every spectrum. You have people that are extremist, left-wing extremist, right-wing extremist in any regard of any belief system. And I mean, that's how you end up with Kanye being like, I'm just going to keep topping myself. I said like something racist before. Certain people liked it. Certain people hated it. Got me a lot of attention. Got me a lot of eyes on me. All right, I'm going to say something more extreme. And Kanye just doesn't have that filter of his intrusive thoughts like you talked about, Moose. And he just kept going and going and going. And suddenly Alex Jones was like, dude, stop. And when Alex Jones says you got to stop, maybe he's right for once.
Ooh.
But yeah, I think in terms of everybody's ability to cancel an artist or support the art but not the artist, like I said before, I really think that everybody has their own personal line they want to draw. And I don't think there's a clear-cut answer. Like, I'm not going to tell you, well, under this circumstance, you could support an artist, but don't support them monetarily, or maybe support their old work, but not the new work. I mean, look, everyone has their line they want to draw, and that's fine.
Yeah, like, I bought Hogwarts Legacy when it came out, but, like, if someone said, like, oh, I'm not going to buy Hogwarts Legacy because J.K. Rowling is transphobic, I would be like, yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, that's valid. I think everybody's feelings on supporting an artist or even watching the old stuff or listening to the old stuff, like Kanye's old music, that's a personal choice, because art is not logical. You might love something. I mean, one of my favorite movies as a kid was Toy Story, and creator of that was John Lasseter. He got outed as a sexual predator over at Pixar. So I mean, it's like there's no there's like nothing you can watch or listen to that didn't have someone problematic involved with it. I mean, and at the end of the day, it's very easy to point fingers at that thing has a creator, like a director or a producer or an actor in it who's bad, therefore you can't support it or watch it ever again. That just doesn't make sense. To be honest, when you're in a capitalist system like we are, there is no ethical consumption. That bag of chips you bought was not produced ethically. The Nestle products, those are done with like slave labor or something. Your iPhone is made out of materials that were dug up in another country with slaves. Most things in America are made in China, which, the people who are making those in China are working in sweatshops making 10 cents an hour. I mean, there's in the capitalist system, there's no ethical consumption. So I don't know that you drawing the line on which episode of Rick and Morty is okay to watch or playing a Hogwarts video game, I don't know that that's really going to matter in the grand scheme of things, because a lot of these boycotts don't really work. People will still keep buying it whether you don't or not. But I still think you have the right to boycott if you want. If it makes you feel better from a moral standpoint, then you're not wrong. Basically, I guess I'm just trying to say that everyone's feelings on this are valid, but I don't know that you're really making a difference either way. No one has that ability.
Yeah, everybody has their moral point, but at the same time, like at a certain point, if you start like kind of saying to other people that you can't, you start being a little self-righteous.
Oh, definitely. You self-righteous and virtue signaling pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for joining us, Higgs. I hope to see you more in the future. And thank you, everybody, for listening.
Good night, everyone.
Peace.
Goodbye, everybody. Check out 33 on JT Dub's YouTube channel. Peace out.